I spit Patron on this microphone. Watch out, I'm in the zone. Worth for everything I own. Life is March Madness. One mistake, then you go. Yeah, I had a stroke, but your boy still rhyming. And Fresh got love, but the squad still wildin'. Catch me in any city in the hood, we grindin'.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros, the comments Bob Arum made after the fight. If you weren't fortunate enough to catch them, it's on ESPN Ringside on Twitter. Here are the comments.
Let me tell you something, and I mean this. Spence and Garcia are fighting December 5. If they really want to make a big pay-per-view, I'll put Terence Crawford in with both of them, one at a time, and he beat both of them the same night. He is far and away the best welterweight in the world. He goes back to the great welterweights like Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns. He would have been competitive with them. The welterweights around now are not competitive with Terence Crawford.
And Bob, you know that what made that era great is that everybody fought everybody, and you were able to make the fights with the heavyweights, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, twice. Will we see Bud in the ring with Errol Spence in the near future?
Errol Spence will try to avoid Terence Crawford as long as he can because he knows he can't beat Terence Crawford. You saw the performance tonight. I mean, he'll take out Errol Spence in about the same number of rounds like he took out Kell Brook.
Okay, so you hear them right there, right? This is the same interview. You hear how they're saying that Errol Spence wants no parts of Terence Crawford. And you see how they cut the interview off there on ESPN's Twitter, right? Conveniently, because let's see what Terence Crawford had to say. And that's, he says it immediately after they're saying that Errol Spence doesn't want any smoke with them. Now here's hold on, give me a second. Well, anyways, I'll throw it to you, Trill. What do you got to say about it?
Yo, this is hilarious. I don't know if I'm the only one catching it, but this is hilarious. Yo, I'm not mad at any one of them. This is pure comedy. And shout out to Bob for being a hustler. You know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, you know the old school players. Anybody start off their conversation once they already having a conversation with you, and then they go to another conversation like, let me holler at you. That's what Bob did. Let me tell you something. Let me holler at you about something. That's how you know he's about to hustle you. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know the old school players about to hustle you. He was going on like, yeah, he'll beat up Danny and Earl in the same night. You see DC's
Translation, you the finest thing that ever walked this earth. Baby, let me tell you.
You know, DC was like that. He didn't even smile, nothing. He looking at her ball like, he looking at him like, hey, Bob's on one right now. Bob's on.
I was just waiting for Bob to be like, he would have beaten Sugar Ray, Marvin Hagler, and Duran in the same fight in the ring at one time.
It was crazy. And then after he was saying, he's avoiding him. TC goes and be like, yeah, I want to fight Pacquiao. Then you see Bob's eyes. Bob, go back. Bob,
Bob was like, you just ruined all this game. You heard the game I was spitting.
Go back and watch it when he said he's trying to secure the Pacquiao fight. Bob like, it was straight comedy. Y'all have to have better communication over there.
Right? Miscommunication is.
Yo, the communication over there at Top Rank is horrible. Y'all have to have better communication because y'all are on two different playing fields. This is crazy.
All right, so something I want to share real quick. So this is on the Instagram for ESPN Ringside, where Bob Arum says, I'll put Terrence in with both Spence and Garcia at one time, and he beat both of them in the same both of them the same night. Bob Arum believes that Bud beats all the other top welterweights. And here's what people had to say. He got carried away there. This man is a great promoter. It's either that or he doesn't know ish about boxing. Sounds like he's afraid of losing his pound-for-pound king to PBC. How about just one of them, Bob? Someone wrote the clown. And then, there you go, 100%. There you got them. And then here you go. Someone says, stop capping, Bob, and figure out a way with Al Heyman to make this fight happen. The real fans want to see this fight. Hashtag Team Crawford. So this is someone on Crawford's team that I respect. Stop capping and figure out a way to make the fight happen. Beautiful. Why can't you be a Terrence Crawford fan and still hold him accountable? That's what I don't understand. But that's the reaction to it. So you see it's not going over well. All right, G.
Yeah, and then I remember, because the guy that was asking the questions, TC, like, about Spence, TC just looked at Bob like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, he's just going to use Bob as an excuse, bro. It's going to be like, oh, Top Rank, you know, like we try to figure it out. It's like, stop it. You know Earl would do the fight, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I believe both men want that fight. So just like Andre Ward said it, both men want to fight. It's going to happen, you know, like, and if it doesn't, well, what did my man TC said? It's a tragedy for the legacy of the welterweight division. You know what I mean? Including your
not
career.
To his legacy.
Yeah, not to his legacy. Just the welterweight legacy, but whatever. You know what I mean? And so Bob, honestly, Bob, I used to hate on Bob a lot. I like the smoke that he was bringing all night. I'm being honest with you. From the, get the F out of Nevada.
Like Shelly?
He's an old
What is it? The smoke, the way he talks, it's like, I know he knows he's lying, but I think he feels like we believe him. You know what I'm saying?
Yesterday I was lying. Today I'm telling the truth.
Thank you. You know what I mean?
So Arum.
I'm like, are you serious? Like, he was like, you seen the performance that he did just now against a broken man. You know what I'm saying? But that performance, he'll do the same thing to Errol Spence. Like, stop.
You saw what he did to Gamboa. You know this. Come on now.
He talking about
Gamboa, he beat Benavidez. Okay? You're telling me you think that Keith Thurman can beat him?
That guy's just outrageous to me, man. Like, yeah, it's just
Keith Thurman's better than that guy who stepped in the ring with Terrence Crawford last night. Easy.
Even if you believe TC will beat Spence, you are out your mind if you believe TC gonna do the very same thing to Spence what he did to Kell Brook last night. Outrageous. Like, no one's buying that, Bob. Like, stop it. You know what I mean? It's one thing to be like, yo, my man's that dude. It's another thing to, like, ultra gas. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I should know. You know what I'm saying? I used to ultra gas Wilder. You know what I mean? So, come on, son. Like,
learning. He's learning.
I know a hustle when I see one. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, son. Putting all kind of gasoline on it. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. It's just out. But Bob, you man, though. You make me laugh. I ain't gonna front. You know what I'm saying? You're doing what you're doing, you know?
Remember on the beginning of Big Pun's album, my man Punish should be taking him out.
Yo, I'm telling you, TC, the TC fans are like, they starting to get to that level. You know what level I'm talking about? They starting to get there, bro. It's getting crazy. Ned.
The Crawdads.
There's a couple of things I want to point out, but G, you just made a great example. You were Arum before, like, imagine if Wilder had Arum, like, it'll be, oh my goodness, G was the Arum for Wilder, man.
No, G was
no lie
for Wilder. That's what he
was. Yo, man, but last night when he said that, I put him in the ring with both of them on the same night. TC gazed, like, when TC said he gonna fight Pacquiao, Bob's eyes changed. When he said he put him in the ring with Garcia and Spence on the same night, TC, you saw was the wider TC's eyes staring at Bob Arum, and he was like, I ain't agree with this. They just told you everything. But man, listen, it's a whole lot of I don't condone yes men, but Bob Arum, you the yes man of the year.
Not a yes man, he's a promoter.
Yeah, he's a promoter, so it's different. Yes man is like
I guess it's the boss level.
So he's
the boss level.
Yeah, he's just the Super Saiyan of promoters, dog.
Bro, Trill pointed out what he is, bro. He's an old school hustler. Like Pops was the same way. He just like that's why Trill can identify this game, because it's like, yo, we used to see this all the time, bro. We used to see this all the time. It's like, what are you trying to sell me, dog? Get out of here! Like, come on, man. Like, it's just, you know. But yeah, go ahead, Ned. I'm just saying he's an old school. He's
he's trying to sell salt to a slug, yo. We ain't buying it, man. Like what we saw last night, man, and how he really avoided the question of like Spence or Garcia and just went straight to Pacquiao, man. We already know what's the real. And if it's really gonna happen, make it happen at this point, man, because this looks like we cherry picking again. We going for the cherry bush.
Hold on. This is where maybe I part ways with all of y'all. Going after Pacquiao is far from a cherry pick. That's a lotto. You know what I mean? That's like literally winning mega bucks, bro. Like,
no, I don't think Pacquiao's a cherry pick, and I don't think
I'm not co-signing that.
I don't think that anyone's saying Pacquiao is a cherry pick.
I think
what we are saying is, when you built your career off the name of someone else, and you have the opportunity to fight them, then you should take that fight. So,
and then hold on. And the reason why many people, I'm not even gonna like total dismiss what Ned said, because you know why many people will call this a cherry pick on the TC's part? For being the younger fighter, where there's other younger fighters out there for you to fight with, right? You want to go against the older man who is really probably gonna have one more fight and then call it. You know what I'm saying? The legend. You really want to get the name. Right? We know the great Manny Pacquiao is the great Manny Pacquiao, but the great Manny Pacquiao has gotten older. You know what I'm saying? And he is way bigger. TC, I like TC a lot. You know, I have nothing but love for TC. You know what I'm saying? But let's just be real. Like, when he goes in there, it's not like he goes in there like he's the smaller guy. You know what I'm saying? It's only time it seemed like a guy be taller than him was like Victor Pascal. And you see where his level was, you know? But then you got guys like he dominated over like these smaller guys like Hank Lundy and Gamboa that they want to praise. He's taller and bigger than most of these guys that he's getting in there with. You know what I'm saying? So him going in there for another guy that he's going to be bigger than, you know what I'm saying, the Manny Pacquiao, a lot of people are going to consider that to be a cherry also as well. Even though we know Pacquiao was great. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. But
if anything, it should be Mikey Garcia and Pacquiao.
The division will want that fight with Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? And Spence is bigger than TC.
Yeah.
And Spence wants that same fight. You know what I mean? So,
but he's the one who made a career talking about how he would beat Earl Spence. See, this is the stuff that Bob is.
And that's why it makes it sound like a chick. Just what you just said right there, Kate. And that's why other people might call that a cherry. Like you doing that.
Every time Terrence Crawford fights, the narrative they try to push is that no one from across the street wants to fight him. They ignore the fact that Sean Porter was calling this dude out. He didn't want to fight with Sean Porter. Yeah, Keith Thurman may have said, I want $10 million for the fight, and you just automatically dismiss him. Didn't even try to negotiate with him. Everyone knows the first offer. You ask for the moon, the sun, the stars, and hey, you can throw Jupiter in there too. If Pluto's a planet and if you consider Pluto a planet, I'll take that too. You do that in the first offer. Everyone knows that. But they continuously push this narrative that all these guys are scared of someone. But to me, there's a red flag when they're fighting each other. Bro, if you watched Terrence Crawford last night, he's not that scary. Kell Brook outboxed this dude for as long as he could, shell of himself, no punch resistance, and that's how Terrence Crawford win. If it was a matter of skill for skill, I'm not so sure Crawford wins that fight, bro. Like, straight up. He was having trouble with Brook. I don't know who had the floor. Go ahead, Troy, like you got something to say.
Oh, no. I was saying, I don't even see, even if he does get a Manny Pacquiao, and if he might be, I don't know. I just don't see him ever fighting these guys. His whole tone has changed these last couple interviews. He is not calling those guys out over there across the street. He is not mentioning those guys. Terrence Crawford has his own road to glory. You know what I'm saying? He has his own
already. I'm in the Hall of Fame already. If
he can't get Pacquiao, he is not worried about a TC, a Danny Garcia, a Thurman. Believe me, Trill Nostradamus believes he will go and fight Patrick Teixeira, and he will become a 4-time weight champion. 135, 140, 147, and 154, and they be calling him the GOAT. He did it in 4. Who's Patrick Teixeira? You go check it out.
You check them out and then tell us. They're going to give TC all the credit in the world for beating them, though.
Yeah.
You already know.
I thought you was going to say they're going to force Teofimo to step up and do a little catch.
I'm going to wait for this, but I'll give it to you right now. Here's what they'll do. Here's what they'll do. Top rank a call up, another top rank welterweight. They'll have him struggle to make weight. They'll throw him in the ring with TC and say he's better now than he ever was at any point in his career because he had time to heal. TC will stop Miguel Cotto, and they'll say it was the greatest thing ever because that's what TC fans do.
Ain't Cotto like 40 years old?
Yo, bro, they won't say, bro. Look at they're saying Kell Brooks better now than he was when he was actually
that was blasphemy.
Champion, right? So imagine they'll get Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto will step on the scale after killing himself to make weight and look good, and everyone will be like, "Oh, Cotto's back." All the old Cotto fans who want to believe, "Oh, he's back. There's no way TC could beat Cotto." Yo, this has been happening since the beginning of time. Like, no lie, this has been happening since the beginning of time. When I say this has been happening since the beginning of time, right? When Jack Johnson beat Byrne to become the first black heavyweight champion of the world, they said, oh, that really doesn't count because Jim Jeffries retired. So he's the real champion. Jim Jeffries was retired for a long time. But they were like, Jim Jeffries, you got to come out of retirement and you got to save us. You got to do it for the race. So Jim Jeffries was like, all this hate, profit for me. Jim Jeffries went, got himself in shape, and started. Jim Jeffries was out of shape. He was just doing his thing, farming, like gut out of shape. Jim Jeffries whipped himself back into shape, and everybody was like, oh, yeah, Jim Jeffries, favorite to win, going to whoop Jack Johnson. And Jim Jeffries got beat. And Jim Jeffries was like, yo, that's the best. Well, that was one of the best fighters I've ever been in the ring with. Give me my check. Made bank off of people's just false perceptions and love and just whatever they wanted to believe in. It's been happening since the beginning of time. People are going to see what they want to see and believe what they want to believe. It's been happening in boxing since the beginning. But it's Ned, did you go?
Nah, I went already.
Oh, so everybody went?
Yeah.
Oh no, but Ned, you didn't finish though.
Well, yeah, to clarify, like he's only a cherry because Pacquiao, the advantages he sees against Pacquiao instead of going straight up against Spence, so or anybody across the street in PBC. He could talk all that smoke.
Yeah, that's what I was
I could beat these guys.
On.
Yeah, I could beat these guys, but if you never face them, we don't declare that on paper. Over here at the Boxer Bros.
Well, ESPN, one of the commenters in the comment section said, Bob, we'll take just one of them. I don't need to see him beat both of them in one night. Let me just see him step in the ring with one of them. How about that? You see, for me, one of the most disrespected fighters in the welterweight division is Danny Garcia. If you watch the PBC countdown, they were actually showing you all that Danny Garcia has done. And then they showed the Sean Porter fight. And I've heard a lot of you bring up Teddy Atlas to me to cite him, right, as someone with deep boxing knowledge and credibility. You'll bring up what he said, so it's credible because Teddy said it. Well, Teddy said on PBC Boxing Countdown, where it labels him ESPN analyst, right? Teddy Atlas said Danny Garcia got robbed against Sean Porter. So when I say it, you want to get mad. Trill say it, you want to get mad. I've seen you in the comment section cite Teddy Atlas as the Bible of boxing, as someone who's extremely credible. Teddy Atlas himself says Danny Garcia got robbed against Sean Porter. So a lot of you say, oh, Danny's not good because he never beat an elite welterweight. Well, a lot of people like me, Trill, and Teddy Atlas feel like he beat Sean Porter. Even Earl Spence. So now Earl Spence is taking on that tough challenge. After he took care of Sean Porter, though. No credit to these guys. These guys are running from Terrence Crawford, the man who spanked, the man who can spank an undersized opponent like no other, a man who can spank an injured fighter like no other. But even his own team acknowledges he has no notable names on his resume. And you know who else knows he has no notable names on his resume? Terrence Crawford. How do I know this? Well, there's an article in The Athletic that was written by Mike Carpenter. In the article, it states that Terrence Crawford had his lawyer from Omaha, Nebraska, I think his name is Kinney, something Kinney, Attorney Kinney, write a letter to Top Rank, Bob Arum and Todd DeBuff. And in the letter, it states that Terrence Crawford is not happy with his current situation at Top Rank. He's upset that of his lack of a marquee fight and notable opponents. It says that Terrence Crawford is not happy. Does that sound like, so you, all the stuff you're spewing, all the rhetoric they're talking, and his attorney is writing a letter. You can look this up. I would have pulled the article up, but you got to pay for it. And The Athletic is like $10 a month to subscribe. And I just want to read one article. You can't even purchase the article individually, but you can look this up. It's The Athletic, Mike Carpenter, about how Terrence Crawford is not happy. And why is he not happy? You chose to re-sign with them. You had the opportunity to go to PBC if you really wanted these fights. But see, everyone overlooks that. Fine. But you know, the same hype machine for Vasily Lomachenko that people were getting mad about, they were comparing Vasily Lomachenko to Muhammad Ali. They were gassing up Vasily Lomachenko. Well, what were they doing for TC last night? Oh, he can compete with Leonard. He can compete with Tommy the Hitman Hearns. Still no elite welterweight in that division on his resume. Not a one. Not one. So here's what it is. As a boxing fan, would you rather see a guy keep beating inferior competition and saying that other people are running from him, and you give him credit for that? You say, yeah, them other guys are running from you. Or would you say, I'm not accepting that? Make the fight. Make the fight. And that's all I'm getting at. Make the fight. I'm not accepting it. Deontay Wilder had the world believe that Joshua was running from him for years. And for years, he had people on his side that actually believed it. When we were in the gym, G wasn't by himself. He by himself on his panel, but he wasn't by himself in the gym. He had a whole bunch of people in the gym behind him screaming how Joshua was running from Deontay Wilder. And then years later, Wilder comes out from his own mouth and says that Joshua made him an offer that was more lucrative than what he made to fight Tyson Fury. I say all that to say, how are you taking sides in contract negotiations? How do you know who's running from who? How do you know that unless you're sitting in there? What I know is Top Rank has a history of not putting their fighters in with anyone but top ranked fighters. That's what I know. Don't give them credit for that Tyson Fury fight. For starters, Tyson Fury's a fighter from the UK who needed to tie himself to someone in the United States of America, so he tied himself to Top Rank. But remember, he has Frank Warren. It's not like Tyson Fury was a top-ranked fighter from the beginning. 1. 2, Tyson Fury was not the champion. He was the challenger for Deontay Wilder's title. So if anyone showed initiative to make the fight with someone from the other side, it was Al Heyman. because Al Heyman had the champion. Al Heyman had everything to lose. Al Heyman was the one who was allowing his champion to face Tyson Fury. And yes, it was because he thought he was a cherry. If he thought that Tyson Fury was anything other than a cherry, he probably doesn't let the fight happen. But that's the same reason why Bob Arum let Kell Brook fight Terrence Crawford, because he knew he was a cherry. So here's what they're doing. They're cherry picking for the cross fights, right? But just because Tyson Fury pulls off the upset, you can't give Bob Arum credit like, oh, and you made the fight with Deontay Wilder. For starters, Tyson Fury signed with him later on. Tyson Fury wasn't always a top-ranked guy. And two, Tyson Fury wasn't the champion. It's easy to make the fight when your guy wasn't the champion. Or he'll gladly let his guys fight someone from PBC to collect the title, but he won't give the guys at PBC a shot of taking a title from him. So stop spinning these narratives. All I want from TC fans is to demand him to fight one of the guys from PBC. Since y'all so sure he can win, stop giving him credit for fights he never had, because Danny Garcia beat him in the amateurs. They split in the amateurs. But don't tell me Danny don't stand. Danny in the amateurs was all about boxing skills. Danny was able to take one from him. And as a pro, Danny Garcia was everywhere, and Terrence Crawford was never there. That's all I know.
Please like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And also check out our podcast on all major streaming services.
Force the fight.
We are the Boxing Bros.
We could have been flawless, flying enough to make people's mouths drop jawless. How can 2 years be erased in 1 August? And you know I have my pride, so I had to get brolic. All in all, I can't call it. Just know you're my queen. Wish I was denim, cause then I be in your jeans. Can't fight fate, and you've been loving me since your teens. But when you can't move forward, you gotta wipe your slate clean.